Hi guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back again for another FPL video, the first one in about a month. Obviously, we've had the World Cup on for the last month, and that's now over. It's been a brilliant World Cup, but now moving back onto FPL. Very excited to get back into it. Deadline stream on Boxing Day as well. How you doing, Jordan? And are you excited for the return of FPL now?
Yeah, with the World Cup done and dusted and all finished, we now come back to Premier League football and Fantasy Premier League, which I've been waiting for 42 days, because I think that's how long it has been since we last done fantasy. So yeah, there's a lot to sort of catch up on and talk through.
Yeah, we're going to talk about our first draft. So, we are going to do a team selection later on this week. So this video is mainly building a first 11 and a bench, talking through, because we do have unlimited transfers. For those that don't know, Gameweek 17, we basically have a wild card. So we thought we'd do a little video, our early initial thoughts on the players that we should be looking to bring in and why. We'll also look ahead at some fixtures and just talk us through the teams we've built and why, really, and the players we've selected. And also we'll talk about any questions and dilemmas you guys have as well. So if you are joining in, please drop a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Without further ado, let's now bring up our teams. So I just want to say a massive thank you to Jordan for the new graphics. If you guys do appreciate the new graphics, do drop a like as well, because it just shows us your support. But yeah, let's get into it. So this is the team that I've created for you guys as my first draft for FPL for Gameweek 17. So let's start with the goalie. So I currently have Kepa in goal. So the reason I've chose Kepa, obviously he is the Chelsea keeper and he has took Mendy's spot now, it seems. But just a little side note, guys, Kepa, I believe, is currently flagged on the FPL website, but according to, sources and Chelsea, what the news is, he should be fine for that game against Bournemouth. So do keep an eye on that. If you are worried, do make sure whether he is fit in that sense. But Kepa should be fine. So he's got Bournemouth for game week 17. Game week 18, he's got Nottingham Forest away. Then he's got a double game week against Man City and Fulham. And then he's got Crystal Palace as well. So I like Kepa. He's cheap as well at 4.5 million. So I think it makes sense to bring him in. I think he's going to be quite popular on wild cards. And I just think his fixtures are nice. And he's got a double. So can't really complain. Moving on to the back three, I've gone with Reece James as well, another Chelsea player, which may come as a surprise to people going double Chelsea at the back because they haven't been great this season, especially defensively, conceding a lot of goals. And the reason why I've gone Reece James, I look at those first two fixtures. Now, Bournemouth at home and then Nottingham Forest away, mixed in with a double game week to Man City and Fulham. And then to end it off with Palace as well. So I like the fixtures for Chelsea. I know they haven't been great, but Reece James is one of those players that if he's fit, I always want him in my team just because I know the attacking potential that he has. And we know he's got a great, outlet for goals and assists. So it's hard for me to ignore Reece James now he's fit, because when Chelsea were playing quite badly before the World Cup, you'd say Reece James was injured. A lot of those games when Reece James plays, he usually plays well. And I believe he is Chelsea's best player. And I don't think that's going to change. So I want to take a punt on James. I don't know how popular he will be. I think he will be in a lot of teams just because of his history and what he can do. But fixtures look good. And I know how good Reece James is as an FPL asset. And that's why I've gone with him in my team. Moving on to Trippier. I'm so glad to have Trippier in my team. I went without him all season. 16 game weeks without Trippier. And he has absolutely killed me because he keeps getting goals or the odd goal, assists, clean sheet points. And yeah, bonus points I've left out. He's basically a bonus points magnet. So I'm glad to have Trippier in my team for Game Week 17. And I don't really need to speak on why to re-include Trippier. I mean, probably been the best fullback this season so far. Newcastle are playing great. And I think everyone's going to have Trippier, really. So I'm not going to discuss too much on Trippier. I think he's another one you have to have in your team. Moving on to Cancelo. Now, this one may raise a few eyebrows. I've gone with Cancelo in my team. Because I did want Triple City. Now, we know City do have a double game week in game week 20, I believe, against Man United and Tottenham. So not the easiest of double game weeks, but nevertheless, it is Man City. They are the best team in the league, the best attacking team in the league as well. And we know Cancelo has struggled slightly in the World Cup, and even in the season before the World Cup, the break, he was a bit, his attacking input, or sorry, I should say output, wasn't as high. So, but either way, I want Cancelo in my team. I know what he's capable of. And Leeds and Everton to start off with in 17 and game week 18 looks very appealing to me. Chelsea could be a bit tough, and then double game week isn't easy. But as I said, I want triple Man City, and he's included in my team, even though he hasn't been great recently. Moving on to the midfield four is where it gets a bit interesting. Martinelli, I have included him in my team, and this is because I look at Martinelli's fixtures again. West Ham, Brighton, Newcastle, Tottenham. Now, the fixtures aren't amazing, especially Newcastle is going to be a tough game. Tottenham is a North London derby. That could be quite tough for Martinelli and Arsenal. But, nonetheless, Arsenal have been great this season. They are top of the league. Martinelli's been brilliant. So I don't want to be going into the season without any Arsenal players. So I definitely wanted one in my team. And Martinelli, I think, is that guy at that price bracket. He provides value for me, value for money. And the fixtures are pretty decent. Arsenal are top of the league. And I think you've got to have Martinelli. Or maybe Ødegaard could be a shout. We will come on to alternatives as well. But I think Martinelli, definitely I like the look of him for this season. And I think we know Jesus is injured as well. So we will talk about the repercussions for Arsenal and Jesus being injured, whether that will affect Martinelli. But for now, he is in my team. Moving on to Almiron, who I've gone with as well. Almiron, another player that's been absolutely brilliant this season. Newcastle have been on top form, and Almiron probably form of his life right now. And you look at the fixtures, Leicester, Leeds, Arsenal, Fulham. So you've got a couple of decent fixtures in there. Almiron is very cheap at that price bracket. There's not really anyone else in that price that provides as much value as Almiron. So he's one for me that's pretty locked in my team, I'd say. I like the look of Almiron, and I think he's one of those players that I back to carry on this form for Newcastle. And maybe, you never know, for a top four charge. We'll see. Moving on to Kevin De Bruyne, who is in my team. Now, this one I was a bit split on. So it was out of De Bruyne or Mo Salah. I was thinking to go Mo Salah. I may still go Mo Salah in the last minute in the deadline stream. You'll have to wait and see. Also in the team selection video. But I've decided to go with De Bruyne just because, Man City, they are the best attacking team statistically, I believe, in the league still, even though they are second. We know his relationship with Haaland has been brilliant. Top assister in the league. He's got Leeds next in game week 17. Game week 18, he's got Everton as well. Chelsea to come. And then he's got a double game week as well. And that double does tempt me to go with De Bruyne. So I think he's one that is in my team. It's not 100% locked in. I could still switch to Salah, but I think De Bruyne kind of speaks for himself and what he's been doing recently. And as we know, as an asset, he's always important to have. Moving on to the other player that I'm quite excited to have in my team is Marcus Rashford. Now, the reason I've included Rashford in this team is we know Manchester United have some decent fixtures. They are one of the teams, I'll say Man United have probably the kindest fixture run to start with. You look at their fixtures, Nottingham Forest at home, Wolves away in game week 18, then we've got Bournemouth at home in game week 19, and then Man City, which we know is going to be tough. But saying all that, the fixtures look nice, and we know Cristiano Ronaldo has now left Manchester United. What does that do for the rest of their players? That means Rashford potentially is now a nailed-on player because Ronaldo's left, so he's either going to play down the middle or even on the left. Martial also becomes an option. We're going to speak about Martial in a bit. But I like the look of Rashford at that price bracket. Bruno Fernandes is another one we will talk about as well. I'm sure Jordan's going to talk about Bruno Fernandes. But I've gone with Rashford at that price. I think he's going to start. I think he's part of Ten Hag's plans. And at that price bracket, it's quite hard to ignore with the fixtures. So Rashford, for me, probably a certainty to be a lock, unless obviously he picks up an injury or something like that. But he's pretty nailed into my team. And yeah, let's move on to the front three. I've gone with Mitrovic to start. Mitrovic doesn't have the best fit of fixtures. You got Palace, Southampton. He's got a double game week as well, which I like the look of against Leicester and Chelsea. And then he's got Newcastle. Now, with Mitrovic, you guys got to be careful because he is on 4 yellow cards, I believe. So one more yellow card for Mitrovic, he will be suspended for a game. So do bear that in mind before you bring him in. But I'm still, taking that risk. I'm bringing Mitrovic in. He's value for money for me. He's been brilliant so far this season. And I like the fixtures. Even though there's no green fixtures on the screen for Mitrovic, but, I don't doubt Mitrovic against Palace and Southampton. So I don't know why he can't score. I mean, that Southampton fixtures are red. I don't know how, on FPL have it as a red, but I think that's a good fixture for Mitrovic. But yeah, he's in the team. I think he's got to stay. He's been brilliant so far. Haaland, I'm not going to discuss Haaland too much. Is there any point? If you don't have Haaland, you're probably, I don't know, you're probably not playing it correctly. I know I don't want to say that, but if you don't have Haaland, I don't know. Let me know why. But I'm not going to speak on Haaland. I think he's in everyone's teams. He's a boring pick. Haaland is the captain for Gameweek 17 as of now. Finally, I've got Darwin Núñez as well to complete the 11. Now, as you guys can see, I don't have any Liverpool players in the midfield. So I've left out Salah, which could be a big talking point potentially. But I wanted a Liverpool player definitely in there, at least one. And I think Darwin at 8.8 million, I think he is now, provides some value. He is a lot cheaper than Mo Salah. And for those that aren't aware, Luis Diaz is now injured for 3 months. So Luis Diaz isn't expected to be back till March. Diego Jota isn't expected to be back till February as well. So Liverpool have a lot of injuries. And if you look at, Liverpool as a team this season so far, we know Liverpool have struggled. And, we know Diaz and Jota are massive misses in that regard. But that means a lot more minutes for Darwin Núñez. And as a Liverpool fan myself, I think Darwin Núñez is going to pretty much play every game now, but Liverpool don't have any other options. They might dip into the transfer window and sign an attacking player. I'm not so sure if they will go down that route because they could just sign a midfielder, which is another, discussion in the Liverpool fan base. But I do believe Liverpool will play Darwin in most of the majority of the games, and I think he becomes a more of a nicer pick than Mo Salah for me, just because Mo Salah's 12 or more than 12 million, and Darwin, when he plays, he actually gets the bigger chances. So in terms of expected goals, involvement, Darwin is actually getting all the bigger chances. So I back Darwin over Salah, I think. As of now, obviously that might change, but if I had to pick between Darwin and Salah, I'm going to go Darwin just slightly now. I know Salah's on penalties as well, so that might make a difference to certain people, but I think Darwin could be a nice little differential. I don't know if he's going to be a differential anymore. What do you reckon anyway for Darwin, Jordan? Do you reckon he's going to be in quite a lot of teams?
Yeah, I think he'll be in more teams than he was before the break for fantasy. I mean, he wasn't really highly owned before the World Cup, but I think with now coming back into the Premier League, he might become more of a popular choice to go with in terms of also saving budget, because Salah is still obviously worth more in the midfield and takes off a lot of money, whereas Darwin, he's only 8.8 mil, so he is a dropped in price as well from 9 mil starting to 8.8, so you are saving a lot of money. He does take up a forward slot though, but at the same time you are saving a lot of money for the form Darwin is on compared to Salah.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a debate for sure. Salah v Núñez, or do you include both, which I've seen a few people do as well. But yeah, let's move on to my bench. Just very quickly, I've gone Danny Ward as well, the bench goalie. I think he's probably an obvious one as well. He's going to play every game unless, Everson. I don't think Everson's going to play. So yeah, Ward's in there as a backup who plays. I've gone with Andreas as well on the bench midfield. I think, and again, is an obvious one because he's the best cheap midfielder in the game, I believe. So he's in there, no discussions really. I've also gone with Ben White. Now, Ben White, I've gone with, if I, the money, I don't have the budget to stretch to Gabriel, but I do believe Gabriel is a better pick if you can afford it, just because he's got that bit more attacking threat for corners. But, Ben White is just as good. If you want to save the money, I think Ben White is fine. Fixtures are decent. West Ham could be tough with the London derby. Obviously, you don't really expect a clean sheet from Ben White there, but Brighton, you could see a clean sheet there potentially. But yeah, Ben White for me at that price, he was a no-brainer really for me as well. And then finally, I've gone Bueno, the cheap 3.9 million. I think it's 3.9 million defender, just for budget reasons, really, to let me afford the rest of this team. But yeah, I don't think you need such a strong bench anyway. So yeah, Bueno's in there for me, just as a cheap enabler, really. So that is a team, guys. My team value, I believe, is 100.8 million as well. So also left with about 0.3 million in the bank. So I think most people will be able to afford this team. But yeah, this is my current, team, guys. My for Game Week 17 unlimited transfers. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. Do you like the team? Is there anyone that I missed out? Is there anyone that you think I should have included as well? Like, let me know what you guys think of the team. I'm gonna read a few of your comments out. So before we move on to your team, Jordan, we've got Manish in the chat. Shout out to him. Welcome. Is it worth to sell Kane and Jesus and get Darwin and Mitro? Well, the one thing you got to take into account with Jesus is he's also on 4 yellow cards, I believe, as well. And if he gets one more, that's a suspension. So do bear that in mind. He's walking a tightrope. And in regards to Harry Kane, I've not seen many teams with Harry Kane. I think I've seen one draft. I was speaking to one of my mates. I think he's got Harry Kane in the team. What do you make of Harry Kane, Jordan? In the sense that, would you sell him really for Darwin?
That's a good question. I mean, if I already have Harry Kane, I wouldn't sell him personally. I'd probably keep him. So I don't think he's worth bringing in.
I mean, obviously we get unlimited transfers, so
oh yeah, obviously, yeah.
you bring him in as a Game Week 17 option.
Probably not. I probably wouldn't bring him in as a Game Week 17 option, just because I kind of edge towards more for Darwin, for example. I mean, as well as the budget too, we have to consider Harry Kane is expensive, but he has performed really well, almost scoring in every game.
Yeah,
in every game week he's had, so he has been quite efficient in his game weeks. But it's a difficult one because he has been pretty good in terms of form, Harry Kane.
definitely.
But I just think maybe other players outweigh him in Game Week 17, like Darwin.
Yeah, the thing with Harry Kane obviously is as well, the other guy, which is Haaland, is outshining everyone in the league. Because in a normal season, Harry Kane would be talking about Harry Kane a lot, but Haaland just blew the league wide open and with the goals he's scoring. So I think Kane is a good pick. Just looking at Kane's fixtures, he's got Brentford, Villa, Palace, Arsenal, and then he's got double game week Arsenal City, which isn't great. But I think short term, first 3 fixtures, Brentford, Villa, Palace, I could see him doing quite well. We'll have to see where he's at mentally as well, obviously, with the World Cup, that miss, whether he bounces back straight away, because we saw the effect he had on Salah as well. After AFCON, will it affect Kane? I don't know, but he's quite strong mentally, so I'd expect him to carry on, really, just getting goals. But we are going to read a few more of your comments if I have missed any. Chief says, wow, the graphics, great job, guys. Thank you, Chief. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Jordan for those graphics. We also got FPL Harry in the chat. Shout out to him. Evening, gents. This draft is like mine. It's very nice. Thank you. I think there's a few template players in here as well, but maybe I will try switch up as well and go a bit different come the deadline in Boxing Day, but we'll see. But yeah, team looks pretty nice, I'd say as well. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on the team, guys. And the rest of the questions in regards to specific players, I am gonna read them out after Jordan's done your team. So that's my team out the way for Game Week 17. My first draft took literally 10 minutes to make this. But yeah, Jordan, let's move on to your team. Talk us through the players you've selected and why, and just your reasoning behind it, really.
Okay, so a lot of people will be wondering at this team that it's quite different, and that's what I wanted to go in that direction, different to the template that obviously we've been going with through this season so far. So we'll start off with the goalkeeper, and this could be a very not a fan popular choice for goalkeeper, but it is Ederson, the Man City goalkeeper. Now the reason behind this is because of mainly Cancelo, who you may see on the bench at the moment in my team bench. I'm not too keen on Cancelo, especially in the World Cup for Portugal. He wasn't great at all he was very underperforming. And we have seen that in the Premier League as well for Cancelo. I think he only has one, I think, double haul in this season so far. And that's pretty much it. It's either been clean sheets or blanks for Cancelo. And I feel like for him, if he doesn't up his performance, then he most likely will go out of many people's teams. I do think he has had a lot of transfer outs as well during this wildcard moment. But I wanted to keep him in still, so he is on my team bench, and that is why I've got Edison in my team as well, because obviously I don't have, apart from Cancelo and Haaland, I haven't got any other attacking Man City players,
Okay.
and I just wanted to fill that void of having not Cancelo on the team but Edison as the goalkeeper, just because I might as well rely on clean sheets for Man City, and I don't think I'll see an attacker return
I was
much
gonna
from
say, do you
Cancelo.
need Edison and Cancelo then? You rather just get rid of Cancelo then and maybe bring in a Foden or someone like that.
Well, the other reason is I do want a strong bench going into game week 17, just because of the amount of football that's going to be played. I do imagine there's going to be a lot of injuries and a
Mm.
lot of unsuspected things happening. So I don't want to completely get rid of Cancelo, even though there's other options I could go for.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is many more players I could opt for, but I did want to keep Cancelo in the team, but I'd just rather have him on the bench for now. That will obviously change. This is just a wild card that
Yeah.
I've sort of thought about in terms of scenarios. So, yeah, Edison is my goalkeeper who will start against Leeds away. And for that game, even though I don't expect a clean sheet from that, I do sort of imagine Leeds could score against Man City and wipe the clean sheet from them.
Hmm.
But even so, it doesn't mean that I got a double defense out for Man City, because obviously
Yeah.
Cancelo's on the bench. Obviously, that may change if someone doesn't play in the full 90 minutes, and obviously Cancelo comes on. But I could obviously change the order of my team bench so he doesn't come on as a first pick. But yeah, that is mainly reason why I've picked Edison, just as a backup player for obviously Man City clean sheet. So moving on to the defense, I've gone with three-man defense, and the first player is Zinchenko. The first reason that I brought Zinchenko in, obviously he's returned back from injury. I think in before the break, obviously he was involved in game week 16 and 15, where Arsenal got 2 clean sheets, and Zinchenko looked really good back in the team. I didn't see anything wrong with him at all. Looked quite sharp in defence, and I do like him as a pick because he is a differential. He isn't
Yeah.
highly owned like Saliba is, who is a kind of a more popular pick. And with Zinchenko, he did get a double haul in game week 1 for an assist and a clean sheet and bonus points as well. So he has sort of that attacking threat for long balls going forward with receiving it from obviously Arsenal attackers. So I did like to include him in the team just because of his low ownership, and
Okay.
he is cheap as well. And Arsenal's fixtures are really good. I mean, they got West Ham in game week 17, who haven't really scored many goals. West Ham, they've quite lacked the amount of goals this season compared to last. And I think with Arsenal's form, if they can still keep that up from before the World Cup, I definitely think they'll have a good game against West Ham, who haven't really got going yet. Whereas Arsenal, they want to keep that top place in the Premier League. Obviously, they finished strong before the break, and they would want to continue with that. And yeah, their fixtures after West Ham are not that bad either, with Brighton away and then Newcastle at home, and then maybe Tottenham away is a bit more difficult. But yeah, with in terms of defender choices, I've gone with Zinchenko as an alternative differential pick. My next defender, I'm not going to go into too much detail because we've already spoken about Trippier, and obviously he's in pretty much everyone's team. He is the must-have defender at the moment. He's been the most rewarding in terms of points, and definitely rank damaging if you don't have Trippier in your team,
Yeah,
as
but
he,
I've gone without Trippier for
yeah,
16 game weeks. So imagine me.
Yeah, it is quite annoying for people that don't have Trippier. Obviously, he's double called so many game weeks that is unreal. Obviously, he's quite an attacking defender as well, getting assists and also on free kicks. Where he did score the free kick against Man City in one of the game
Mhm.
weeks. So he is he's definitely a defender you want in your team, and it's
Yeah,
definitely one I'll be keeping. I think he is 5.9 million, I believe now. So he's almost 6 million. He started from 5 million and he's almost a 6 million defender. It is
yeah.
insane how much
Also,
price is risen.
also talk to me about Diego Dalot. Your reasoning for including him into the team.
Okay, so you might be surprised I've gone with Man United players, and yeah,
No, I mean they
Delo.
got good fixtures.
Yeah, that's one of the standout things. Man United have great fixtures involving Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth, both home fixtures as well, and definitely standout ones that I will be obviously watching in terms of players I pick. And Dalot is part of that. I could have gone with Luke Shaw. It is between Dalot and Luke Shaw because both are sort of balanced. There's not really much dividing them two, but I've gone with Dalot. Uh, Again, he is more of a attacking defender as well. He can
Had a decent World
assist.
Cup.
Yeah, he had a decent World Cup for Portugal as well. And yeah, I see a lot. I see two clean sheets at least from these next four fixtures for Man United. Definitely in Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. I mean, they've kept clean sheets against much more harder opponents. So I do hope
Yeah.
that they can against these newly promoted teams. I'm pretty sure that hopefully they will. But yeah, I've included Delo, the first Man United player in my team in this season. I have not included any Man United players thus far, so this will be a first.
Also, I've see obviously our midfield is very similar. Martinelli,
Yeah,
I have him. I've got Almiron. I've got Rashford as well. You've gone with Fernandez. I've gone with De Bruyne. Obviously, the difference here, obviously, you can give your thoughts on Martinelli, etc. as well. But talk to me about Fernandez and your reasoning for including him because another Man United player. It's a very different as well. What's your thinking behind that one, including Bruno?
well, obviously I wanted to go different to the cliche of Kevin De Bruyne, for example, because I know a lot of people have already got him, so there's not really much gain having him in my team. So I'd rather go for someone that's less likely to be picked, and that is Bruno Fernandes, who may be a firework that hasn't been lit yet. Obviously, in Gameweek 17, they have Nottingham Forest, and another reason is because well, this is a massive reason. Ronaldo has now left Man United, so
Yep.
as we've seen in the World Cup as well, whenever Ronaldo doesn't play with Fernandes on the pitch, Fernandes just plays much better. I mean, it's hard to say that Fernandes plays as well as when Ronaldo does play with him on the pitch because it's just totally different
Yeah.
from Fernandes. He's more attacking. He looks more better on the ball. He seems much more better in every aspect. And I think now with Ronaldo leaving the club now, it'll just be a confidence booster for the whole Man United team. I think they can settle down now that Ronaldo is no longer at the club. And I think these players will shine out like Fernandes. He'll be back to
Interesting.
scoring goals, getting more assists where he
Another
was.
thing, no, sorry, another thing I was just going to add. Obviously, Ronaldo leaving, Bruno now will be penalty taker, so that's another big
Yeah.
thing. We know he's on penalties. He's going to take free kicks as well. I'm assuming he's back to being the main man really in that team.
Yeah, he's back to being what he was before. So yeah, and he is also he has got the captaincy over him as well, which is probably a crazy thing to do. But yeah,
Against Haaland, you know what I mean? It's interesting. Are you going to go Fernandez and captain potentially over Haaland, which is bold, but I like it. If you go there, that is.
well, I think everyone will find out obviously on the deadline stream. So I'll probably leave it to that
Okay.
point whether I captain Fernandez or not. But yeah, that's pretty much Fernandez spoken about. Obviously spoken about Rashford. It's pretty
Yeah.
much mirroring the same explanation as Fernandez because Ronaldo has now left. Rashford will either play uh, forward or on the left,
Yeah.
depending on what Ten Hag prefers. Probably Martial plays up front and then Rashford goes to the left. But either way, Rashford did look good in the World Cup for England.
Mhm.
And I know he hasn't had many returns in Premier League, but I think after the World Cup, I think he'll have I'll say, a period of reflection. And obviously for Man United too, he'll be raring to go and
Yeah.
obviously raring to score some goals for Man United now that the whole issue of
Mhm.
Ronaldo is now gone and finished. So, and also with the fixtures as well, Man United, I
Yeah.
mean, you can't go wrong with the fixtures.
You've gone triple United, which is interesting. Fixtures definitely look good for it. Nottingham, Wolves, and Bournemouth, as you said. Two home fixtures as well in there in the first three games back. Talk to me a bit about Eddie Nketiah. So I see you've gone with Nketiah, which there was people saying, we could look at, Nketiah as an option, but I've not seen him in many drafts. What's your reasoning for that one as well? Because that's another exciting pick. Obviously, we know Gabriel Jesus. We'll probably touch on Gabriel Jesus very quickly. We know he's out. He's had an operation on his knee, I believe. He's going to be out for a few months, which is a massive, massive blow to Arsenal. Whether people like it or not, it definitely will impact Arsenal going forward because he's that good. He's been that good. But Nketiah showed back end of last season he's a decent player. So what's your reasoning, the faith in Nketiah, including him, which I like it. I mean, what's your reasoning behind it?
I just think because if Jesus didn't come to Arsenal, and Nketiah was going to be the main striker, so he was always going to play every minute of football for Arsenal. And obviously, as you touched on last season, he was pretty good. I mean, he looked really sharp, scoring goals from not many appearances for Arsenal.
Yeah,
So, and he's young too. So he has a young potential who now, because of the situation where Jesus is now out for a few months, this is the opportunity for Nketiah now to obviously take Jesus' spot in the time being. I do think he'll benefit coming back into the squad as a full, let's say, a starting 11 now
yeah.
during Jesus' dismissal at the moment. And I think he's a good pick. I mean, for goal scorers, other than Martinelli, who I think also will be potentially up front with or behind Nketiah, however it
Probably.
is.
I'm just thinking what they're going to do, Arsenal. I'm assuming Martinelli is going to keep the left hand side.
Yeah,
Saka's going to go down right, and they'll probably play Nketiah down the middle. Now there is a slight scenario, guys, where they could play Martinelli as a striker, as a false nine, and then play Emil Smith Rowe on the left. So go watch out for that one as well. Emil Smith Rowe could come in, play on the left, and push Martinelli to the middle. But I think Nketiah will probably play. I think he's a natural striker, so you probably want to keep him there and keep Martinelli where he's been so great.
yeah. I think Arteta does like Nketiah when he does play. Obviously, in other leagues where Arsenal do
Oh
play
yeah,
matches
Europa
in.
League and
Yeah,
stuff.
and he obviously does score goals in those leagues. So he could be a worthy choice. If I know he's going to start for Arsenal,
Mm,
then he's definitely a pick I would look out for. Because again, not many people will really pick Nketiah. I don't think. I think a lot of people will go other places like
yeah.
other forwards, popular choices than Nketiah. So he is another differential pick that I'm willing to take a punt on, just because I want as less template as possible in my team, which at the same time I want it to work as well
Yeah,
in
fair
terms of
enough.
where the player's form will come into success, hopefully.
Okay, nice, nice. Any thoughts on Darwin? How come you've gone Darwin over Salah? I mean, we've touched on it a bit, but what's your thoughts a little very quickly?
Yeah, I previously had Darwin. I think I bought him in, I think 2 game weeks before, obviously the break. And yeah, he's been pretty good for Liverpool. I think he's pretty much been the best of the like bad bunch for Liverpool. I mean,
Near the end, yeah,
yeah,
he was
near the
start
end, I think.
getting back onto it. Obviously, he struggled a bit at the start, but I think he's looking a bit better now.
Yeah, he's gained more, let's say, confidence and um, precision
Yeah,
in his football, and I think that will just build and continue to build as as long
was
as
it
he
with
plays with Liverpool. And there hasn't really been any really standout players apart from Darwin and Luis Diaz. Unfortunately, Luis Diaz is injured. Otherwise, he would have been a decent pick to go for as well. I think Darwin's the only real only real player that I can actually see in my team in terms of Liverpool, which is crazy because last season you would think we'd have triple Liverpool at this stage, but we're just going with one or maybe none in this season. So Darwin's pretty much the last, I'll say, asset for Liverpool that I'll be wearing to go for.
I could still bring Salah in. I'm not going to say no to Salah. I still may go there, but I don't know. Liverpool still don't look right to me, even in the little preseason games I did watch. I know preseason of mid-season, I should say, not preseason. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Liverpool do play on Thursday against Man City, so that'll be a very, very good test to see where Liverpool are at, who they play, what formation, and then we'll take it from there. Thursday, probably I will look at it, and if Salah has a good game, I might knee-jerk and just bring Salah in. We'll see. But yeah, I want to get a few comments out actually as well that I've missed. Sorry, guys. I will come back to all your comments. The Tekken user, easier to buy Darwin later if Kane doesn't work out than vice versa. Yeah, fair comment. Manish, if James is fit, would you recommend to get him with Kepa? I mean, if you don't mind moving back to my team again, that's exactly what I've gone with. I've gone Kepa and James. I think the fixtures are nice. Kepa is cheap at 4.5 million. That's why I've gone with him. And I think Reece James has always that potential. I know our Chelsea haven't been great, but Reece James is one of those players that has the potential of a double-digit haul. Always. I believe that when he plays, everything really goes through him. So I am a big fan of James. And I think the fixtures are pretty decent. And they've got a double game week. So why not? Hey, you never know. I might change my mind. But I think for now, if he's fit, James, I'm probably going to have him, if I'm honest. I don't see myself taking him out. Great, Michael. Trossard or Rashford, having in mind you will lose value of transferring Trossard out. I mean, a lot of us don't have Trossard, I guess. So, Jordan, I'll let you take this one. Trossard or Rashford. And if you want Trossard's fixtures, I'll just read them out for you as well. I don't know if you have them on hand. So Trossard has Southampton, Arsenal, Everton, and Liverpool next 4.
It's a bit of a mixed bunch in terms of the fixtures for Brighton because you've got Liverpool and Arsenal in the mix of the other 2 easy fixtures for Brighton. I'm not too confident in Brighton, if I'm honest. Like, the new manager that's come for Brighton hasn't been that great in terms of Brighton's performances. I don't think they've really kept a clean sheet behind him. And I think also we have to consider McAllister, because he's Argentinian as well. He probably won't be playing in the first fixture for Brighton either, due to possibly...
he won't. I don't think he will be there.
No, due to the celebrations and obviously the break that they'll have for the football. So there is a missing key player there, the captain McAllister for Brighton. Fixture-wise as well, I think Rashford has better fixtures than Brighton to start off with, just because he has Nottingham Forest and then Wolves and then Bournemouth. And then the only hard fixture he has is Man City in game week 20. So in terms of fixtures, I think Rashford has better ones. And I also think maybe Rashford's form will be better than Trossard's, just because I'm not too confident of what Brighton will be after we resume on game week 17.
Also, we've got a comment here. Thank you for the comment, Dan. Thoughts on Zaha, boys? Zaha, I'll bring up his fixtures. So he's got Fulham in game week 17. Then he's got Bournemouth, which is another nice fixture, you'd say. But then he's got Tottenham, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United. That is tough. From game week 19 to game week 22, he plays, 4 of the top 6. So, yeah, I'd be staying away from Zaha if I'm honest. But he's one of those players that will probably score in those hard fixtures and then blank against Fulham and Bournemouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Zaha? Would you avoiding him, or is he a serious option? Have you considered him?
That is actually the reason what you said is probably why I wouldn't want Zaha in my team. He's one of those players that will have a dry spell and then suddenly will score a few points. So I imagine after the first few games where it is easy for Crystal Palace, and then he goes into hard. That's probably where he will score, but most people won't go for him because of the fixture.
Yeah. He's one of
So,
those players that you'll keep for the easy games, he'll
yeah,
blank, and then you'll get rid of him when he's got Liverpool and Chelsea, but he'll score against those two teams, which
yeah,
that's just peak Zaha for you.
yeah, pretty
Um,
much. He is a frustrating player when that does happen.
yeah, Lee Fisher, Kepa, and James are doubts. Rashford has one return since game week 6. But yeah, with Rashford, we've spoke on Rashford with Ronaldo leaving. I think it is a big impact on that forward line for Man United, I believe. But it's whether you agree, I guess. I think Rashford is going to play much more now down the left, and Bruno playing as well. I think that is more freedom for them to attack, and I believe they're a better team without Ronaldo in it. And whether we will
Yeah.
see if that does come to light, we will see. But yeah, I think Rashford, he hasn't had a great start, but we're looking at the fixtures as well. I try to play the fixtures as well. I know form matters, but I do still like the fixtures for Rashford, and I'm gambling on the fixtures. Cancelo is a controversial pick for me. He mainly relies on clean sheets to pick up bonus point hauls, which I'd rather have Walker or Edison. But if I'm spending that money, I'd rather have Foden. Fair enough. We did touch on that as well. People are forgetting Odegaard. He's cheaper than Martinelli, and he may play a more attacking role. Odegaard is another one. I mean, did we discuss Odegaard? I think he definitely is an option for sure. Odegaard, I wouldn't be writing him off at all. I think he is a good option if for those that want him over Martinelli. I don't think it's a bad option. What do you reckon?
Yeah, absolutely. If we could have 6 midfielders, I think Odegaard would be my 6th midfielder pick if we were allowed that, because he's as Dom said, he's a cheaper option, and even at the moment, Odegaard's been really good for Arsenal. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll say even
popping up.
Xhaka as well. Both those players have been good for Arsenal, and they are cheaper too. So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yep, can't really complain there. And yeah, that's pretty much our teams, right? Hopefully we've
Yep.
covered it all. So that's Jordan's team on the screen. That is his first Game Week 17 draft. Let me know what your thoughts are on both our teams. Which one you like more? Which one you think is more interesting? I don't know. Maybe Jordan's one obviously is Nketiah with a differential. Fernandez is different as well. And then this is my team for Game Week 17. I will change one or two players. I think majority is fairly locked, I'd say, but there could still be one or two last minute changes. You'll have to tune in for deadline stream on Boxing Day, but we will have another video out, I believe, around Thursday, doing a team selection video and probably locking in our final teams, which will be kind of similar to this, but we might make changes from now until then. But anything else you want to add, Jordan? I think you were going to say something.
I just remembered I haven't done my bench players.
Okay, go ahead.
I think.
Who's on your bench?
Okay, so obviously we talked about Danny Ward. I think pretty much everyone has him as a second option for goalkeeper, and he has come in clutch as well before the break, getting a lot of clean sheets for Leicester. But he does have Newcastle at home next, so he'll probably stay on the bench for that fixture. Obviously, we spoke about Cancelo. I'm not too keen on starting him just because of I can only see a clean sheet from Cancelo, but I have Edison anyway in that team, so I'm not willing to take the risk on double Man City in case they don't keep a clean sheet. So I'll just play Edison instead. And for Fowler is I'll say the talking point of my bench. He's got Bournemouth at home. I'm not a fan of Chelsea players, but I have gone to the bare minimum of bringing in Fofana, who he did play a few minutes for France as well, and a few games as well, and he looked pretty good. I mean, for Chelsea, he could revive the defense if he is a starter for them, and I think also he can be potentially a goal scorer as well. He does intercept a lot of tackles as a defender, so he is a good interceptor as well. And the price, I think, for him is very cheap. I think he's 4.3 million. So he is a cheap defender option if he is to be a main starter for Chelsea's defence. And with the fixture as well, Bournemouth at home, I did want to include someone from Chelsea. It was very hard to pick because I'm not a real fan of any Chelsea players just because they haven't been great. but I did want to include Fofana there just in case there is some sort of backwards return from Chelsea. And the last player on my team that I've gone for is Rodrigo, the Leeds midfielder who has Man City at home. This is probably obvious why he's on the bench. He's got Man City, but I do want to play him after, obviously, the fixtures after Man City game. I don't have the fixtures up, but I do know that Leeds do have decent fixtures after that Man City game, obviously. And another reason is because Bamford is also out injured with a hip injury. And whenever Bamford is out of the team and Rodrigo steps up, he's always playing that more attacking role. And as we've seen from last season, he is dangerous. He can score a lot of goals and can double haul when he is the main, I'll say, danger for Leeds, especially when Bamford's not playing. He plays more forward and pretty much a striker role in that team. So that is why I've included Rodrigo. He's also cheap as well. Not many people have him in the team, so he's another differential that I've gone for. And it may be a bit of a benching headache of who I sort of replace with him, but I did want to include him in the team just because also I want a strong bench. I don't know what injuries are going to happen. We've seen a lot of players in this World Cup, and we just got to watch out for the fitness of all these players. So I've just gone with a stronger bench in terms of that.
Fair enough. We do actually got to consider that as well. There will be a lot of rotation around that Christmas period. We know the games are coming thick and fast now, so there will be injuries, suspensions, rest periods for players. But yeah, we'll see. Dom, in my draft, I've managed to fit in Haaland, Kane, Darwin, KDB, Foden, and Rashford. Is that overkill or is it smart? I mean, if you think it's going to work, then go for it. You got KDB and Haaland, which is two premiums. Oh, three premium. You got one with a three premium and Darwin. I mean, I don't know if I want to spread myself too. I mean, I'd love to know what other players you have in your team. But yeah, I mean, go for it, man. Miles, I have Pope, Cancelo, Trippier, James, Martinelli, Rashford, Zaha, Gross, Haaland, Darwin, Martial, Ward, Saliba, Mount on the bench, and Nico Williams, and a bench boost. Interesting bench boost. I'd probably say my bench boost personally, but you've got a strong bench there, so hey, why not play it? P. Macar as well. Both of you going without Salah up to now. Are you mad? Jordan, what do you think of that?
I don't necessarily think it is mad because Salah's ownership is not really that high. It's just over 20%. So a lot of people have lost sort of faith in Salah in pretty much getting a lot of decent returns. I mean, he does score here and there, but he isn't the same player that we saw last season where he was scoring in pretty much every game week and sometimes even double hauling. I mean, for this season, he hasn't really got going. Liverpool have been not going either, which doesn't help as well, the situation. And we haven't really seen a player stand out apart from really Darwin and Luis Diaz before his injury.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's completely mad going without Salah. I mean, I might regret that if he bangs a hat-trick now in Gameweek 17.
The other thing I was actually going to add as well is captaincy. Salah is such a big player usually in the last 5 years of FPL. He's been a great because you captain Salah every week. If we're going to captain Haaland every week, which a lot of people now are signing towards, where is the value now as much? Because for me, these premium players, I bring him in because they're a captain for me. And if we're not going to captain Salah as much, can we justify keeping him? Where potentially, I'm not saying Darwin will outscore Salah. Can Darwin just, tick along? And we're going to captain Haaland, assuming most weeks. But obviously, the penalty situation is still big. Salah on penalties, I still think is a big plus for him. But for me, I do look at the captaincy, and because Haaland, probably most of us are going to captain Haaland now going forward for the rest of the season. Salah becomes less of a option in that sense, I guess. But I've not ruled Salah out, P. Mac. Just letting you know, I could still be bringing him in actually. So do tune in and see if I change my mind.
And yeah, that's pretty much the reason for my draft, how I've made it as well, because Haaland is only the real premium in my team. If you count Fernandes as well, who started at 10 million, that is only the only premiums I have. Everyone else is pretty much cheap. players that are under 10 million. And yeah, there's no real point of bringing in premiums if I'm just going to captain Haaland. So it's more worth going for other players that I think will do well. Like I have picked Rodrigo, Rashford, Fernandez, Nketiah, Dalot, Zinchenko, these type of players that no one's really going to go for or look at. And I just want to get on early, let's say, on that advantage.
Fair enough. We'll see how it goes, guys. But just want to say, if you are still watching the stream, and if you have enjoyed it, don't forget to like the stream. It helps us out massively. So do like the stream. And also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We are very, very close now to 700. And that is the next target. So yeah, guys, like, subscribe. And that's it from us for today, I believe. We've covered it. We thought we'd do a little video for you guys, talk about the Gameweek 17 and what our thoughts are currently and the players that we like the look of. Hope you guys have enjoyed. I'm going to take that off the screen. And yeah, we are back again, probably on Thursday for a team selection video. And then Boxing Day will be up at around, I think it's the 11 a.m. deadline. So we'll be up 10 a.m. probably for a deadline stream. So don't miss out on that one. That's going to be a good one. And yeah, we hope to see you guys very, very soon. But that's it from the FPL Duo. We hope you've enjoyed. Drop a like if you have. Subscribe to the channel if you have. And share the video as well, because it helps us out a lot. That's it from me. Anything else you'd like to add, Jordan, before we do head out?
It's just nice to be back and seeing all of these, seeing all you guys back in the stream as well. Yeah, that's all I pretty much say.
Yep, FPL's back. We're over the moon, and yeah, let's finish this season on a high. Let's get some green arrows, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Take care, guys, and see you shortly. Peace out.
Yeah, take care, guys. See you soon.